Mr. Marnel M. Polio, Teacher 1, Science Department of Catahingan National High School. One of the most disruptive areas of activities worldwide is the education sector. The overall landscape of learning has changed significantly because of COVID-19 pandemic. As one of the Learning Continuity Plans or LCPs, the Department of Education implemented the modular learning modality, which includes printed and digitalized self-learning modules or SLMs across all learning areas including science. Science curriculum, even at this difficult time, envision our science learners the development of scientifically, technologically, environmentally literate, and productive members of the society. However, despite the face-to-face learning, it is undeniable that the performance of our Filipino learners in science, as reported by TIMSS and PISA, ranked as fared worst among 79 countries. How much more the academic performance of our learners wherein there is no face-to-face classes? We should do something. We should innovate. How about if we integrate video lessons in science? What is the academic performance of our science learners who use printed modules and to those who utilize the video lesson? Thus, the reason of this action research to evolve. Please stay tuned as I will introduce to you my action research proposal entitled Integration of Video Lessons to Grade 9 Science Learners Amidst COVID-19 Pandemic.
Integration of video lessons to Grade 9 Science Learners amidst COVID-19 Pandemic. An action research proposal by yours truly, Marnel Malanog Bolio, proponent. Context and rationale. Science subject is critical for the students to learn as shown in their low academic performance. How much more that we are in COVID-19 pandemic situation? There is a great question as to the kind of learning that they will have compared with the face-to-face classroom learning situation. In the new normal, there is a need to apply videos for learners. Video lessons can be more effective as teaching delivery modes during this pandemic. Education is so changing too fast. The world education should be worried about by kids on how to survive. Students should never stop studying on what is new known as the new normal. All teachers want their students to become better. Education is like food to feed to the people. Education must design the future of tomorrow and learn to work with others. Let us all fight for the solution of tomorrow. Education must design the future of tomorrow so the students may learn to work with others. The educational design we want to have in the future remains a question amidst the pandemic situation. While logistically sound, taking too many online courses or having poor online instruction can be harmful to a student's future. One of the most glaring issues with online education is the lack of interpersonal communication. A big disadvantage to middle and high school students is the lack of one-on-one support. Hussain F. 2017. This may cause a student to be inattentive, irritated, bored, and passive. A student's failure in this ability may hamper him or her to achieve academically in other subjects' contents and may even lead to negative attitude towards schooling. It could be noted that this undeniable reality urges schools to consider this as a very significant factor to the success or failure in every educational endeavor. Umali D. 2014. Video lessons can bridge geographic regions between learning requirements and delivery. On the other hand, e-learning is self-paced independent of geographic location and time. Then, distance learning is online self-paced learning with instructor facilitation, independent of geographic location and time. Akil Z. and Garrison 2011. The values that were measured in video lessons were about the behaviors of the students regarding the course or lesson, the relationship between gender and their success and their ability to use the knowledge that they had learned. The results showed that the electronic curriculum which is used affects students' long-term learning success in an affirmative way, and also the students who are more responsible to the course had succeeded with higher grades in this blended learning environment. In the other words, blended learning is the third generation of distance learning or just distance education systems which maximize the best advantage of face-to-face learning and multiple technologies after correspondence education via email and radio and distance education through a single technology such as computer-based and web-based learning as cited. The writer found out that the most of the students are not participative and listening seriously during lectures and further plan to study about the problems encountered by most students in grade 9. This argues that the continuing decline in numbers of serious learners at the point of choice requires a research focus on students' attitudes to the nature of the problem is to be understood. Starting from a consideration of what is meant by engagement to video lessons, it considers the problems inherent to their personality, what is known about students' attitudes towards learning, and the many factors of influence such as gender, teachers, culture, and other variables. Badia A and Colosimo A 2013. The literature itself points to the crucial importance of the quality of teaching. Given the importance of the latter, we argue that there is a greater need for research to identify those aspects of teaching to video lesson approach that will make school engaging for students. In particular, a growing body of research on learning remediation programs offer important pointers to the kind of classroom environment and activities that might raise students' interest in developing their learning abilities and focus for future research. Goodwin J. 2017. Modular learning has been encouraged or pushed for distribution to learners in the present pandemic situation. There is comparison as to which is better, modules or printed modules or video lessons. There is a need for the new normal to introduce video lessons. Although video lessons are not so interactive, sure learners will be more interested and feel it as more interesting and enjoyable to engage in. That is why the purpose of this action research is to focus on this video lesson application in the new normal. This study focuses on the descriptive experimental method of research about integration of video lessons to grade 9 science learners amidst COVID-19 pandemic. This is for selected learners on their perceptions and reactions to this video lesson teaching. What is the action research question? The main objective of the study is to specifically sought to answer the following question. Is there a significant difference between the control group using printed modules with that of the experimental group using video lessons in relation to their academic achievement? Proposed innovation, intervention, and strategy. The proposed innovation of this action research is the use of video lessons in teaching science. The researcher in this study was a proponent of the project together with the EPS or the Education Program Supervisor in Science and approved by the school's division superintendent. The learners will be given weekly video lessons. The video lessons are aligned with MELC or Most Essential Learning Competencies and SLM or Self-Learning Modules. The illustration below shows that video lessons creation and validation is the first step, followed by student dissemination of videos with printed modules, then followed by watch videos and answering of modules. Then, last is the submission of weekly outputs to the teacher researcher. This is the flow of the research. Video lessons are good options compared to face-to-face and modular application during this hard time. The video lessons composed with pre-test and post-test. There are activities and other reinforcement beneficial for the learners. The writers or demo teachers who made the video lessons were all expert teachers in science in the division of Masbate Province. All video lessons were properly validated by qualified validators. The video lessons as innovation of Masbate Province Division are not only available for grade 9 science subjects but also for grades 3 up to 10 intended for all quarters. This will be tested if effective as teaching delivery modes during this pandemic situation. These action research tools can still be utilized even if learners don't have internet connections. They can still avail of the video lessons as long as they have flash drive, laptop, or smart television. Learners can copy the video lessons to be played to laptops or television at home. Action research methods. This action research will use the descriptive experimental method of research. Descriptive experimental research involves description, recording, analysis, and interpretation of conditions that currently exist. The main aims are to describe the nature of a condition as it exists at the time of the study and to explore the causes of the particular study. Contextual material of Alan Chapman in 1995 to 2014 established a participant reaction method, and such was applied by the researcher to the virtual teaching or video teaching learning evaluation as shown in the diagram below. Pre-tests, learning, post-tests, then comparison. Research design. This action research will use the descriptive experimental method of research. Before and after the application of video lessons, learners' attitude and behavior to improve their learning phase will be observed. Evaluate satisfaction during the learning phase, perform post-test results of the knowledge during the learning phase, and sometime after finishing learning and use these results to compare and improve the effect of training for the learners and innovate to improve the video lessons used. Donald Kirkpatrick's 4-level evaluation model in 1959, review and contextual material Alan Chapman in 1995 to 2014, established a participant reactions method, and such was applied by the researcher to video lesson teaching, learning evaluation of the approach as shown in the diagram below. This evaluation is going to provide the following: reaction evaluation to measure learners or trainers' pre-knowledge and how they thought and felt about the video lesson teaching learning experience. Learning evaluation, which is to measure the increase of knowledge before and during video lesson teaching in order to provide corrective actions at the end. Behavior evaluation, which is to measure the extent of applied learning back on the program implementation of knowledge. And result evaluation, which investigate the effects on the video lesson teaching program or approach resulting from the learner's performance, and try to assess and validate the impact of the approach using the extended Kirkpatrick's evaluation model. Participants of the study. The researcher limits the study to the selected grade 9 learners under the classified respondents. The respondents of the study will be taken from grade 9 learners of Kataingan National High School, Poblacion, Kataingan, Masbate. There will be a total of 60 learners. 2 sections from regular classes are to be involved. 1 section of 30 students will act as a control group of the study, while another section of 30 students also will serve as the experimental group. The researcher will prepare the following before conducting the survey of this action research proposal. First, he will ask permission and approval from the school head and EPS science of the division to gather the data for this action research. After retrieval of the action research proposal, the division school superintendent's approval will follow. A pre-test and post-test will be administered after the learners have viewed every video lessons prepared. Data analysis. The t-test will be used to determine if there is a significant difference in the level of performance of the learners before and after the integration of video lessons to grade 9 science learners amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Action research work plan and timelines. So we have here the objectives, activities, time frame, resources needed, funding source, and we have remarks. So we have first to ask permission from school head to conduct action research and present the proposal. Activities, preparation of action research proposal and ask permission from school head. Time frame will be August 2020. Human resources needed, we have the researcher and the school head. Material supply. The funding source will be the BERF. Remarks, prepared proposal and permitted to conduct classroom action research by the school head. Next is to finalize the action research proposal. Then finalization of the action research proposal as one of the activities. Time frame will be September 2020. The resources needed, researcher and schools division research committee, material supply, funding, BERF, remarks, finalize the action research proposal. Then we have to prepare the video lessons to be accomplished by teacher researcher for the respondents. Then prepare video lessons for the selected learner respondents. That would be September 2020. Then the human resources needed, the researcher, and the teacher broadcaster. Then we have the material supply, funding, BERF, remarks, prepared application of video lessons to the school respondents and teachers. Then we have to prepare the action research proposal dissemination. So preparation of the action research proposal and implementation of the action research intervention, October 2020. Researcher, the human involved. Then you have the supply, the materials, then the BERF as the funding source. Prepared action research proposal dissemination. Remarks. Next, we have to implement the action research intervention. So you have the activity implementation of the action research intervention. That would be November 2020. Research human resources needed, researcher, signatories. Then the material supply, funding, BERF. Then the remarks, implementation, action research proposal. Then we have to collect, process, and interpret the data collected. Activities, interpretation of data collected, November 2020. Then we have funding resource, BERF, then remarks, data are collected and interpreted. Then we have to plan out the measures to be undertaken to sustain the video lessons program. So activity, planning out the measures to be undertaken to sustain the video lesson program. That would be November 2020. Resources needed, researcher and the school head. Materials, online teaching materials. Then we have the BERF as funding source. Remarks, planned out the measures to be undertaken to sustain the video lessons program. Then lastly is to submit the completed action research for approval. Activity, submission of the result of the action research proposal. Time frame will be December 2020. Human resources needed, researchers, school heads, schools division research committee. Then materials, the report of the action research completed, fund, BERF. Then remarks, approved report of the action research completed. Cost estimates. This is the estimated amount to be spent for the completion of the study. Supplies and materials, 5,000 pesos. Food expenses incurred during surveys, 2,000 pesos. Transportation allowance, 5,000 pesos. Internet connection, 2,000 pesos. Encoding and reproduction of materials, 5,000 pesos. Communication expenses, 3,000 pesos. Completed copies or hardbound, 3,000 pesos. Research dissemination expenses, 5,000 pesos. A total of 30,000 pesos. Plans for dissemination and utilization. The results and findings will be communicated to teachers through School Learning Action Cell or Slack sessions for information and possible application and integration. The findings of the study will be presented to School Governing Council and to Bicol University Research and Development Journal for possible adoption on the results and findings of the study. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm the proponent of this action research proposal, Marnel Malanog Bolio of Kataingan National High School.